Hello and welcome back to FID Chats. I'm Laura Camperson, the Future Identity Portfolio Lead, and I'm really pleased today to be joined by Michael Williams, Director of Product Marketing at Axiad. Hi Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
It's good to be here, Laura. Thank you.
The pleasure's ours. And Axiad are a newcomer to our FID Chat series. So I thought we would start, if that's okay, by just telling us a little bit about yourself and the business. Obviously, you're a leader in employee authentication and cybersecurity, but would love to hear from you how you define your approach in that sector.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give you the company tagline and then break it down. So we're unique in that we provide a holistic approach to organization-wide passwordless orchestration to connect people and machines to data and applications from anywhere. And I know that's a huge that's a huge bunch of words. So holistic means across the whole organization, from pure on-premises to cloud, hybrid cloud, and across all your operating systems, Mac, Windows, Linux. And then organization-wide means for large enterprises, financial institutions, for example. We handle the entire range of authentication from frontline workers to the finance team to the C-suite. So across the whole organization. And then passwordless means, and this is another mouthful, phishing-resistant authentication. And what that means is it can't be cracked by threat actors anywhere in the identity fabric, and that's Gartner's term. You know, from the laptop to your mobile authentication, second factor, or whatever you use. We use strong authenticators like USB keys and YubiKeys. You know, to the network, to the actual authentication infrastructure, because hackers have been going after, password vaults, for example. And then orchestration means we operationalize authentication. So we don't rely upon an end user calling the help desk every time they have a problem. We provide self-service utilities for the end users so they can control their own destiny, and also utilities for IT. So authentication remains super efficient, even at the scale of a large financial institution, for example. And then when we talk about connecting people and machines to data and applications, that means we authenticate people, users, and of course, IT admins, machines, which are physical things, and of course, virtual workloads like VMs, and interactions, which are emails and attached documents, and which is how a lot of bad things get introduced into an organization. And so that's how we define our approach.
Thank you for that overview. It's such a huge number of things that have to be considered, isn't it, for particularly large enterprises like financial institutions, as you said. So it's no surprise that cybersecurity is really a leading concern for those institutions in 2023. And perhaps you touched on some of the threats already that are out there, phishing and hacking. But can you describe the extent of the threat that companies are faced with? What are some of the emerging risks to contend with?
Yeah, so all companies, and especially financial institutions, they're facing threat actors that have nation state toolkits that have been leaked out in the wild. If not their actual, if not training by nation states. So it's not just MFA at the end user level, right? Every component of the identity fabric is being under attack. So the device, the secondary factor, the network in between, and the infrastructure, right? And a lot of organizations are looking at basic MFA as the next step because it's required by cyber insurance and things. But basic MFA that relies on passwords and codes sent to a mobile device, it's already been cracked. In fact, you can buy a book on Amazon that has 50 proven ways to attack MFA. In fact, right? So CISA, which is an American government group, they've outlined multiple attacks against the mobile infrastructure that sends these codes. And that's a huge concern. And then the U.S. White House Office of Management, called the OMB, they've highlighted a bunch of other attacks that are called impersonation attacks, right? And then NIST, another U.S. government board, has talked about attacks against the network and the authentication infrastructure. So we're to kind of sum all that up. We're beyond the point where end user education is going to make, is going to change the game, right? We really have to look at securing the entire identity fabric against hackers.
Wow, it's really scary to hear the full kind of extent of the threats there, and the landscape that financial institutions have to contend with. And clearly, as you said, passwordless multi-factor authentication is going to be critical to protecting employees and devices from phishing, cyber attacks. But you were just speaking there about the number of different devices and channels that need to be secured. And how do businesses really approach implementation to address the whole wide variety of use cases, especially with this complex work from home and hybrid working environment that today's working world demands?
Yeah, great question. So, organizations, as we talked about earlier, they have to authenticate across multiple operating systems, multiple identity and access managers, on-premises, cloud. And as you mentioned, Laura, the security exposure surface now means work from home. Yeah. The employees' personal devices, particularly their cell phones. And also you have to worry about contractor and partner personal devices. So the security exposure surface has just gone geometric in a lot of ways. Another challenge is a lot of the tool sets and skills, such as certificate-based authentication, public key infrastructure, they're really hard to find out in the market, and therefore they're very expensive. And a lot of companies have been kind of barely they had an infrastructure that they created in the early 2000s, right? And they're still kind of hobbling along. So the best approach is to just go to a cloud approach, because you need to provide access everywhere, and the cloud gives you that access. And it's really hard for a single company to set up and maintain all this stuff. So a SaaS approach is really the best way to go for basically almost any size organization, right? And again, it's not about cost. It's really about the best way to protect the company's IP from theft and their operations from being disrupted.
Yeah, so really relying on and leveraging some of those amazing technologies that are out there on the market, and capabilities of organizations to support groups and companies like financial institutions. And I imagine beyond security, which as we've established is hugely critical, there would be some other business benefits to the introduction of these types of technologies, such as passwordless authentication.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and of course, we have to talk about security. It's passwordless authentication is really unique in that it is better security, and it's a heck of a lot less bother for end users.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of, for multi-factor authentication with the phone, you do it, you wait, you stare at your phone, then you get a number, you have to type it in. And you can be hacked by doing that just a whole multitude of ways, right? Mm-hmm. Instead, the way that Axiad does it, you have a physical authenticator, such as a USB key that's in your laptop. You touch it, you enter a 6-digit PIN, and you touch the authenticator again, and that's all you have to do. Just takes a couple of seconds, and it's really, really hard to hack. So great security. And the second part that Axiad provides is we provide self-service capabilities for the end users, right? No one wants to have a problem and then wait on hold for the help desk for half an hour to 45 minutes just to reset a password. So what we do is we enable end users to reset their own passwords by involving a trusted colleague or manager. And that not only increases everyone's productivity, but it also makes end users happier. And when end users are happier with the system, they don't, try to circumvent it. And the third thing, and having been in IT, I can tell you personally about this experience, right? It's IT is simply overloaded. And so what we've done is we've streamlined IT's workload, particularly at scales. We have a lot of utilities and helpful automations that help them manage, a very, very complex global environment with minimal resources.
Absolutely. So less onerous on the users, the employees, and the teams, the IT teams supporting that process as well. Great. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us on FID Chats today. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you. Such a lot of interesting information in that short amount of time. And I look forward to seeing Axiad at our upcoming event, Future Identity Finance, in New York.